Hey, look, I woke up like this for real. Alright. I woke up with music on my mind. Alright. So what I want to talk about for a little while is when mama is making uh dinner from scratch. Uh it could be Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner or whatever it is. And then you got them people that make TV dinners, microwave dinners, take them about 3 minutes to make a TV dinner. I'm talking about microwave producers versus producers that make stuff from scratch. So for example, if you buy if you are a producer and you buy beat packs from another producer, or if you buy mastering presets, vocal channel presets, any of this type of stuff, I refer to those as microwave producers. Not to discredit them or say anything negative. Like the foundation of a song that I make, I could probably make a song in 1 minute or something like that. That's the foundation of it. But then there's a whole lot more that goes into it. The mixing process is like one of the most I don't want to say difficult, but the mixing process is one of the hardest parts. Really, the that's where most of the creation and all the time is spent in the mixing process. It's not something that you can just throw a preset on and then skip to the mastering. The mastering is something that it doesn't take that long to master a song. People think mastering, don't get me wrong. Mastering is like puts the cherry on the top, puts the whipped cream, puts the finishing touches on it. Mastering is very important, very important. But the mixing means everything. It's like if I had a choice to choose a perfect mix or a mediocre mix and a perfect master, I would definitely go with a perfect mix. Because if you have a perfect mix, you can get a perfect master. But if you have a mediocre mix, it doesn't matter how much how hard you work on a mastering, it's still gonna be mediocre. And that's the problem nowadays with a lot of songs is we push out we push out, I was finna say Du Boy, but that's DJ is I'm talking about microwave producers versus scratch producers. And that ain't no disrespect to nobody. I just want to point out the differences. And you got a lot of programs nowadays where you can just take like little samples or I don't want to say segments, pieces out of other songs, and people can take different pieces out of other songs and make a song out of, you just took pieces out of another song and made another song. And people look at that as I'm a producer. And I mean, I guess it is some form of a producer, but a producer, like for example, this is what I was saying. A producer, a real producer, is normally the one that sells you the beat packs. Like people might buy a Dr. Dre beat pack. So if you are a producer, or if you claim to be a producer and you bought a Dr. Dre beat pack or a Kanye West beat pack or whatever it was, you bought a beat pack or you bought presets, a Dr. Dre vocal preset or whatever it was, you're typically not the producer. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying this to discredit anybody. But a microwave producer versus a scratch producer. Does anybody understand what I'm talking about with that? So most producers that do that, they don't understand the difference. Like when you talk to one of those type of producers, they typically don't understand things like sample rate, bit depth, de-essing, side chaining. They know nothing about these things, and they typically don't even know. A lot of them don't even know how to really know how to master. Right? We're so used to a quick fix. We're so used to, oh, I'm gonna just take this. It's this new plugin that can just master for you. All you gotta do is push this button right here, and it masters the song for you. That's not really a producer. And excuse me, the reason I say that is because you take one of those modern day microwave producers, right? And you put them in an analog $5,000, $5 million studio with these huge analog boards and analog equipment everywhere. They don't know how to work nothing in that studio. That's not a producer. That's why. You see the difference in what I'm saying? That's not a producer. But nowadays, us producers have been born in a digital world. We know nothing about analog. We have no idea what analog is. That's why most of y'all recording 44.1. You have no idea what the other sample rates mean. Most of y'all recording 16-bit. Because you have no idea what 24-bit is and what 32-bit is. 32-bit float is. Because you were born in a digital world. You know nothing about analog. In order to understand these different sample rates, to understand why there's different sample rates, and to understand why there's different bit rates and bit depths, is you have to understand analog. And all the myths and all the crap that these rookie producers are telling y'all, oh, you don't need to do that. Oh, that's just for the birds. Oh, only the deer can hear that. And then it's kind of like if anybody knew anything about photography or video, a lot of times what a professional videographer or photographer would do is if they know what resolution they're going to export in or what the final product is going to be in. So what they do is they record in twice that size or higher. That allows for edits and all this other type of stuff. Some of y'all know nothing about raw formats and all these different formats. I'm in school for this stuff, right? And so I try to talk to a lot of producers about, a lot of quote unquote producers or microwave producers, young producers, or 5-minute producers, whatever you want to call it. I try to talk to them about things like microphone placement, microphone quality. And a lot of people are like, man, nah, I don't need that type of microphone. But the record label that you paying $300 an hour or $100 an hour to go record it, they are using a certain type of microphone. Typically, it's going to be the U87AI by Neumann, which is almost a $4,000 microphone. All right. Or they're going to be using the the Sony C800G by Sony. These are two of some of the top of the line, most used microphones in music. They're going to either be using those two microphones or something very similar. All right. And these microphones have been on countless hit songs and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that those are the only two microphones in the world that are going to give you that hit. But if you look at Tupac, see, a lot of y'all don't know this, but Tupac had a lot of hit songs, and you go back and look at the microphone that he was using. It's similar to a Neumann U87AI. It looks just like a Neumann U87AI. The microphone that he was using was made by the same brand, Neumann. But what I believe he was using was a tube version of the U87AI. So it's a similar mic. I don't know the exact model. But if you look up the Neumann U87, the Neumann U87 AI, and then you go and look at some of Tupac videos, he's using that mic, or it looks like that mic. The only way I can tell that it's different is because the bottom connection. Two microphones have a different connection on the bottom. The plug is different on the bottom. So when you look at the microphone, I said, oh, Tupac is using the U87 AI. But then when you look at the plug, you know it's not the U87 AI because it has a tube style plug. Mariah Carey, for example, on majority of her songs, she used the Sony C800G. You have to ask yourself, why are they using these microphones? A lot of y'all sit up there and say, nah, man, I got this $100 microphone, man, it's all I need. I got this $200 microphone, it's all I need. I'm telling you, man, I'm sitting up here giving y'all game and it's going over y'all head because y'all don't research stuff. We don't look up stuff. We want the quick fix. Because the thing about it is, man, if music is what you really want to do, if music is something that you take serious, like it's like a career. For example, football players. Just think about if you was in junior high, and then you went on you was in junior high on the football team. You went to high school on the football team. It's gonna be some people that do it for a season. It's gonna be some people that do it for a lifetime. That's the problem. A lot of us do it for a season. We want to do music, but we want to just do it for a season. We want a quick fix. We don't want to put in the work. We don't think of it as a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Something that we're going to be doing for a lifetime. So we don't give it our all. We just want to push a few buttons. Bam, bam, bam. Push 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons. And we want the song to be done. That's not a professional. We're so used to, I can just put this plug in right here and bam, push this button. It automatically does this and it automatically does that. You 5-minute push button producers. You put you in a professional analog $5,000, $3 million studio. You don't know how to work that studio. That's the difference in a microwave producer and a producer that makes things from scratch. All right. That's the difference. So a lot of these producers that I talk to, they know nothing about music theory. You make beats, but you know nothing about music theory. So don't get me wrong. It's a lot of people out there that can play things by ear and know nothing about music theory. I applaud that because that's very hard. That's typically what I do. But I want to enhance my game. So what do? I go and take courses for music theory. I go and take courses for mixing. I go and take courses for mastering. I learn about side chaining, and all these other things that y'all don't do in y'all songs. Y'all take a beat pack and load that beat pack into a machine like this. This is fine. You take a beat pack and load it into a machine like this, and you're like, boom, 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 tap, tap, tap. Don't get me wrong, that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Like, even Zaytoven uses a way more, expensive one than this. But even Zaytoven uses a beat machine. But you gotta realize, Zaytoven is more than likely making his own beat packs. You see what I'm saying? Zaytoven is probably making his own beat packs. So if Zaytoven is making his own beat packs and loading them to his own beat machine, he has a sound that's unique to him. So when people hear his style and he decides to sell a Zaytoven beat pack, it has more value. He can make money off of his own beat packs. So you that's buying the beat pack from Zaytoven or Dr. Dre or a Kanye West beat pack, whatever you're buying, you're not really the producer. You see what I'm saying? You're like a microwave producer. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm just pointing out the differences. There's producers that make music from scratch. There's producers that mix from scratch. And there's y'all that have a studio and y'all record y'all vocals and send it to a producer. Send it to a mix engineer. Or you go and you pay a studio to go in there and record and edit your vocals, or they sell you a beat. You see what I'm saying? It's a difference in an artist or a microwave producer versus a producer that make it from scratch. Like I said, I give the example again. It's like grandma making Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner. You know, it take grandma like 3 days, 2-3 days to make that meal. And when you eat that meal on Christmas dinner, you know the difference in grandma's Christmas dinner, grandma's Thanksgiving dinner versus that little old 3-minute TV dinner that you got out of the refrigerator, out of the freezer at one of these grocery stores that you ate at lunch, or one that you got out of the vending machine at work. Them little old 3-minute TV dinners, man, is no comparison on grandma's Christmas dinner that she throw down. You see what I'm saying? A lot of y'all don't. But this is why I invested in high quality microphones, high quality preamp and interfaces. And some of y'all just do not understand. Like, I don't need to, y'all say y'all don't need to spend that much money on this, that, and the other. That's cool, man. I'm not here to force what I do on anybody else. But it's somebody out there that's like me, like I was 10 years ago, that says, hey, man, I'm scratching my head on this. I'm really trying to figure this out. I'm trying to get this result, but I can't get it. I'm trying to sound like the big record labels, but I don't. I want to learn how to do it by myself, but I don't know how to. Them the people I'm looking for. So, like, even when it comes to like room acoustics and room size, a lot of people don't know the difference about that. Some of y'all know, oh yeah, go to Guitar Center or go to a music store and put these pads on the wall, but you still understand nothing about the acoustics or in the size, the dimensions of the room. There's a certain dimension that the room has to be in order to get a certain sound. You don't want to record in a box room. If your room is completely squared off, that can create some problems. I didn't know that. I just learned that about room size. I knew room size made a difference, but I always thought a perfectly squared off room would give you a perfect result. But that's not the case. It's not the case. So like I say, there are microwave producers and there are scratch producers, producers that do everything from scratch. They dig deep. I'm the type of person that when I opened up my DAW, you know what a DAW is, right? Digital audio workstation. It's the program you record your music in. When I opened up my DAW and I go into my audio settings, and I click on something, I'm like, man, sample rate. What the heck does that mean? I go look it up. Some of y'all just leave the settings on default and y'all render everything out in the MP3 because you know nothing about quality. MP3 was not a MP3 was not a file size that was, a file that was based on quality. MP3 was a file that was based on saving space. It's very good for like if you want to post something online, because you got to realize online storage is a lot of times you have to pay for like online storage and online space. And sometimes they only allow you to upload a certain file size. So an MP3 typically would be okay for that. But if you're trying to sell something, or if you're trying to put your song on a CD, a CD can handle 16-bit wave. So why would you downgrade? Why would you downgrade to MP? Why would you put an MP3 on a CD? That's not what that was designed for. The MP3 was originally designed for MP3 players. Do y'all remember when iPods and MP3 players were the big thing? They had a certain storage capacity. And typically if you bought the cheaper one, then you didn't have a lot of storage. So you wanted to have, 500 to 3,000 songs on that device, but you didn't have enough storage. Some of those MP3 players and iPods could not play back a certain quality of music because they wasn't designed for that. When you are in the studio and you are recording vocals, there really is no set amount of quality. Like there's no restriction on quality like that. So that's why, like, when we're in the studio, if you look it up, when you are in the studio, typically in the studio, the default for recording has been 24-bit. But a lot of microwave producers record in 16-bit. You're supposed to export your final result in 16-bit, but you record in 24-bit or higher. I record in 32-bit float. It's a 32-bit float. It doesn't lose quality at all. 24-bit still loses quality, but it's double 16-bit. You want to be in double, because you can hear more. It increases the dynamic range, and there's myths and stuff like that that go on where people say, well, if you're gonna export it in 16-bit, it's just gonna cut all that sound off anyway. That's not true. If you know how to do it, if you render your song the correct way and you convert it the correct way, everything that you did in 24-bit, it now changes the I guess the mathematic equation, I should say. Say love, what's up? So I'm just talking about microwave producers versus scratch producers. I'm not here to talk down on nobody. I'm just explaining the difference. Because it's a lot of people that look at me and say, hey, I already dropped like a whole album and I'm working on my second album, but we ain't even heard one song from you yet. Because it's a difference when, for one, you're doing everything by yourself, and for two, if you're a microwave producer or you're doing everything from scratch. And you don't have to be called microwave producer. That's just what I call. That's the term that I use, because I use the term like a TV dinner that you put in a microwave for 3 minutes. Bam, 3 minutes, the song is done. The whole song is done. 3 minutes. And so, 3 minutes, the TV dinner is done. 3 minutes, the song is done. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not hating on nobody. But what I'm saying is I do everything from scratch. I do all my mixing and everything from scratch. There's so much more that I do that typically if you buy beat packs or if you buy melodies and things that are already made and you buy them from other producers or other websites, you're taking some that a producer already made and he put it on a website to sell. So he probably makes a commission off of each sale. Like if he makes a melody, he knows music theory, but you might not know music theory. So you go and buy, cause you're like, man, I really like that sound. That melody is hard, because he knows music theory. A lot of these producers know nothing about music theory. They know nothing about bit depth. They know nothing about DS, and they know nothing about sample rate. They know nothing about side chaining. They know nothing about a lot of things that producers know. But everybody calls himself a producer because they have one of these. You load up your Zaytoven or your Dr. Dre beat pack into this, and you like boom, 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 tap, tap, tap. I just made a song in 3 minutes. And I'm not saying anything wrong with that. But the person that you bought the beat pack from is the real producer. You see what I'm saying? So buying a keyboard does not make you a producer. People think when they see something like this, they're like, oh man, he's a producer. Do y'all know that I've used my mouse for years? I never even used this thing before. I've used my mouse for years. And people look at me like, you ain't no real producer. You using a mouse and a keyboard. I'm talking about this kind of keyboard. Not this. This kind of keyboard. And people looked at me like I was crazy. All I need is my mouse. And I've made better songs than some people that have these. Songs that people haven't heard. But if anybody that knows me, like my cousin or my homeboy that I do music with, they've heard a lot of my songs that nobody else has ever heard. So people hear my stuff on, I have a link in my bio, and people hear my music on there. All of that music is old. It's only 2 songs on there that I actually like. But that's when I felt like my quality was getting to where I wanted it to be. And I took a step back and I said, you know what? From here on out, if I cannot make a song that sounds either the same quality of those songs or better, then there's no point in me putting the music out. And that's the way that I think. With every song, I try to get better. So I don't even want to put out music that's the same quality of that, because I have way better equipment. I have way better knowledge than what I had when those Southside Hating is one of the songs. And then My Life is one of the songs. If you listen to the quality on those songs, I made everything in those songs from scratch. No packs, no samples, no presets, none of that. I do everything from scratch on my own. And that's how I've always been. So if y'all hear some of my old music from like 2008, 2010, you're like, man, this dude is horrible. And I leave that music up. You know why? Because there's somebody out there that is not as good as me. And they were like me 10 years ago. And they're like, man, I ain't gonna never be as good as him. Listen to that song he made, Southside Hate. Listen to that song he made, My Life. My Life and Southside Hate. You go listen to the quality of on those songs. And believe it or not, I did use a $150 mic and I use a $150 preamp. So you can get good results out of lesser equipment, but I did research on my microphone and my equipment. So there's some $100 microphones and some $150 preamps that are not as good. The 2 that I bought, the interface that I bought was a Steinberg UR22. Steinberg UR22. The microphone that I had was an Audio Technica AT2020. For somebody that is on a strict budget, you go buy those 2 pieces of equipment, and they are, in my case, they do very good. Now I'm on a whole nother level. I have what most producers, top of the line producers, have now. This is a $1,500 preamp interface. You can probably get it for like $8.99 or $5.99 now. But this is a MSRP is like $12.99 or something like this. With taxes, I just say $1,500 because you round up tax and then warranty. You know, they're gonna always try to sell you a warranty. About $1,500. But there's a reason that every top of the line producer is using that. My microphone, for example, I have an $11,000 microphone. Y'all seen me advertise this. $11,000 microphone. But this is, they don't sell the $11,000 version. You look up a Sony C800G, all the top of the line, Quavo, Dr. Dre, Mariah Carey, all of them use this $11,000 microphone. But they don't, it's discontinued. You can only buy a second hand, third hand, whatever. This that I have is a replica. Is a replica of that mic. So if you go to Warm Audio and you look up WA8000, you'll see this mic, and it costs about $1,500. I don't know. Did I say 1,500 or 15,000 on this? I think I said 15,000. But if I mean 1,500. But if I said 15,000, I apologize. 1,500. And then my microphone, my Neumann TLM 103. This is one of the microphones that's becoming the standard now. Since the 90s. Before that was the U87AI made by Neumann, same brand. It's been on countless hit songs. Michael Jackson used it. And most of the artists that you hear that are going to go pay. Oh, I just went to the studio and I recorded. I paid for an hour in this top of the line studio. You're recording on a Neumann UA7AI. That's a $3,500 microphone. $4,000 if depending on what set you buy. 3,200. It's like 3,300. But if you buy the one that has everything on it, like the premium shock mount, and the premium wire and all that, then it comes out to like 37, 38. I just say 4,000. But this, the TLM 103, don't get the TLM 103 confused with the TLM 102. I've had a TLM 102. It's a good mic, but it is not the TLM 103. They look the same, but if you hold them side by side, if you hold the TLM 103 and the TLM 102 side by side, you will notice that the TLM 102 is smaller. This one is bigger. If you take the Neumann U87AI and put it next to the TLM 103, you notice that the top of these microphones are identical. The only difference is the bottom half, the bottom part. The bottom part on the U87AI is bigger because it is a FET. And it also, it has a higher impedance, it has different components in it, but the capsule in the TLM 103 is the same exact capsule that is in the U87AI. That's why this mic is different than the 102. The 102 does not have the same capsule as the U87AI. But a lot of people don't know that because they don't do research. They're like, oh, this mic looks the same as that mic, but in this one it's cheaper, so I'm gonna just buy the cheaper one. You got to do your research, man. You have to wonder. You have to ask yourself, why is every top of the line producer have this TLM 103 in their studio? Why do they have the UA7AI in their studio? Why do they have the Sony C800G in their studio? Trip Lee, for example. Trip Lee dropped his latest album. I can't remember what the name of it is, but he dropped it some months, maybe 6 months ago. He hadn't been producing any music in a while, and he finally released the album. Trip Lee used a clone of the Sony C800G. Now, Lecrae, his label has an actual C800G in their studio. I think Lecrae even has one in his own house. And Lecrae also has a U87AI. If you watch Lecrae's videos on YouTube, you look at the microphones that he has in the background. It's normally the U87AI or the WA8000. Those two mics are what you're going to see. Trip Lee had, before this clone came out, Trip Lee used a clone of the C800G. The C800G is $15,000. Not $1,500, $15,000. Okay? And Trip Lee used a clone by Project Gotham. Is it Project Gotham? I think that's the name. It's Project something. I think it's Project Gotham. I think they are the makers of that clone mic. And they charge $4,000 for that microphone. And me and my group were going to get the original Sony C800G for $15,000. We prayed on it. Guess what happened? Warm Audio came out with a $1,500 clone of a $15,000 microphone. A lot of y'all say $15,000. That's too much money for a microphone. But if you know that this is really a $15,000 microphone, then you'd be crazy to sit up and complain about it. That's 90% off what Quavo, Dr. Dre, Mariah Carey, all the big major record labels are using. See, y'all don't do y'all research though. When you go and buy record label quality, you no longer have to ask a record label for a deal. Why do you need a deal from them? So you can rent their equipment, so you can use their equipment. You learn how to do the stuff yourself. Think about it. A record label is just a person and a group of people. They can get a lot of things done in a short amount of time. They can make you go from nobody to somebody in a matter of days. You be a celebrity in a matter of days. One individual cannot do all that work in a matter of days, but they can do it in a lifetime. They can do it in a season. They say it takes 10 years for overnight success. Think about that. If it takes, let's just say, it takes one person 10 years to do what a record label can do in a matter of days. I don't mind waiting that 10 years, sweetheart. I don't mind waiting that 20 years. You see what I'm saying? I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to learn music theory. I'm willing to learn mixing and mastering like a professional. Not looking for a quick fix. Oh, I can just buy this plug-in right here and bam, put this plug in, it does it. Man, look how it make my song sound. I just push this one button right here and it just automatically the song sound like producer quality. You're not a producer. But I'm not saying that to talk down on anybody. So for all y'all out there that know nothing about producing and all that, and you're trying to produce your own music, don't let what I'm saying discourage you. That's not what I'm saying. I want you to keep doing what you're doing. But there are some people that think they are so much better than me. Those are the ones I'm talking to. You're not a producer. You bought a beat pack from me. You bought a beat from me. You bought vocal presets from me. You learned side chaining from me. You see what I'm saying? But you're going to spit in my face. You're going to look down on me. Like, if we were running a race, you're like the rabbit and I'm the tortoise? You look good out there. You getting everything done in 5 minutes. You got time to go hang out with the girls and go hang out with your friends and go watch TV and go watch the ball game. While y'all watching the ball game, I'm in here reading my lesson. While you over there flirting with them girls, I'm in here reading my lesson. I want to flirt with the girls too. I'm single. But I'm in here on this lesson. While you renting out studios, I'm investing in my own studio Hollywood equipment. You see what I'm saying? It's a difference. 20 years from now, you look at the rabbit and you look at the turtle. 20 years from now. Think about it. Most of these rappers that have this overnight success, what happens to them 3 to 5 years down the road? They end up dead, or they not doing music no more. They're bankrupt. They're in debt. Because the record label gets 90%. Y'all do know that, right? The record label gets 90%. Y'all get 10. But they throwing all this money. They got money, don't get me wrong. But it don't last long. Because they have a lot of money for a short period of time. Ladies and gentlemen, invest in yourselves.